Welcome back to lesson 12, and the topic is what is love. Now, I could have started this video course with that as the first lesson, which would have made sense. But you see, I felt it apt to make you think about your marriage first. Because do we really know what love is? Can we really define it exactly? I think you are at a better developmental stage now to come closer to defining it. If you think about it, there have been countless numbers of poems and songs written on love, and there no doubt will be many more by poets and composers in the years to come. Now, each of us experience love in our own unique and individual ways through varying levels of intensities. However, there are some commonalities or common characteristics, and these are the ones I'd like to touch on in this lesson. Let me ask a few questions. When you and your spouse spend time together, are you extremely jealous? Does your mood depend on your partner's feelings? Do you miss your partner when you're apart? Do you miss them endlessly? Do you have constant sexual desires and feelings towards them? Does everyone and everything else seem unimportant compared to your partner? Do you feel you couldn't live without your partner? Is your love uncontrollable? Now, if you answered yes to any of these questions, you're not in love. You're in lust, or you could be in lust, highly likely. You may have a combination of these intense feelings towards your partner, but they're all unpredictable and unstable. Let me explain. Love is not made up of definable feelings. It is a complex whole system that includes a multidimensional combination of intentional, physical, emotional, and passionate intimacy coupled with commitment. It's a far more controllable and stable feeling that is made up of trust, honesty, commitment, and belief. I firmly believe that there is no such thing as love at first sight. There is lust at first sight. I think that's quite common. My wife laughs at me when I say when I met her for the first time, I fell in lust. Think about it. When you meet your partner, no matter who they are, you know zero, zip, nada, nothing about them. So how can you say you've fallen in love at first sight? You were physically attracted. There was just something, a whole picture of that person, but it was sexual arousal. As primal beings, you were attracted to that person physically. That is called lust. That's the way I see it. You may want to argue with me on that, but for the majority of the people, I stand by that. It is lust at first sight. This is what is common. Now, should you be compatible with that partner that you fell in lust at first sight with, this could possibly lead to love at a later stage. However, love to me is something that builds up over time with understanding and trust. When you marry and you have a certain level of love between you, then on top of that, you have your first child. Your love reaches a new level. As you age together, your love develops to an even deeper level. Have you not heard people say that love is blind? They maintain that when they met their partner for the first time, their heartbeat increased, their eyes glazed over, they were all sweaty, they experienced speech impediments, speech problems. It is as if Cupid shot them with the arrow and all of a sudden, poof, they were in love. It's not love. It's lust combined with a sudden oversecretion of hormones. Love is not something that just happens. It's a decision you take for which you consciously have to make an effort to develop it. For love to grow, it needs your help, as without you, it cannot survive or grow. Think about it. How often have you heard someone in a relationship say, I have no more love left to give you. It's gone. I cannot control it. It slowly dissipated and disappeared altogether. I cannot give you what I haven't got. Does that sound familiar? This statement suggests that love simply appears from nowhere and just as mysteriously disappears again. Can you see the point I'm driving at? Too many people see love as an uncontrollable feeling. Yet it is exactly the opposite. You and only you are the one that can control love and make it grow. If you don't feel any more love towards your spouse or partner, then it is you who consciously made that love die. If you really wanted the love to continue, it would have. It would have gotten further. It would have continued. Now, fair enough. Over a period of time, with hurt, misunderstandings, lack of understanding between two people, love does die. But it is solely as a result of a conscious decision by one of the partners. Let me repeat that. Love can only die through a conscious decision made by one of the partners. Now, the whole object of this video lesson is to show you the various ways of rekindling any dying love as well as increasing the love that you feel for each other at present. Simply put, a champion ice skater has had to practice for how many years? So many years to attain a certain level. If the skater does not maintain and practice and lives under the illusion that they will always stay at that level and always be able to do a double axel, they're fooling themselves. A figure skater that's been off the ice for a number of months takes weeks of practice to get back to that original level again. And love should be seen in the same way. You have to work at it, you have to maintain it. Otherwise, you will live in a false illusion and your love will die. If you do not water a plant, it dies. If you do not eat, your body will weaken and die as well. Simple laws of nature govern life. Love is part of life. What about those moments when your partner has really annoyed you or hurt your feelings? What happens to love then? We've all been through them. And usually during these times you feel hatred and say things such as, I hate you. Has the love disappeared? Of course not. Remember that love as life is a complex, multi-dimensional system. Some days you feel healthy, other days you feel sick, yet you're still alive and have a life. So too will you experience love's ups and downs. Everything consists of positives and negatives. It is in the strong relationship where love receives constant attention that survives all of these problems. Hate at that moment is a mere emotion. It's irrational, it's sporadic. Your love is something that has been built up over years. When a partner says, I hate you during an argument or quarrel, it's a natural defense mechanism coming into play. It's a defense mechanism. If you immediately replied, you may hate me right now, but I will always love you, what do you think your partner's reaction would be? Aggression? I don't think so. It'll only bond your love a lot more. A man was invited for dinner at a friend's house, and every time the host needed something, he preceded the request to his wife by calling her, my love, darling, sweetheart, treasure. And his friend looked at him and said, wow, that is awesome. After all these years you've been married, you keep saying and you keep calling her those little pet names. And the host looked at him and replied, well, to be honest, I've forgotten her real name. Another silly game. Okay, let's carry on. Of course, we also have those people that believe that there is and can only be one perfect partner. Someone somewhere on this earth has been pre-assigned by some supreme dating service to be our lifelong companion and lover, our soulmate. Well, if you spend your life searching for Mr. or Mrs. Right, you're going to lead a very lonely life. It is human nature and natural to love. You can love many people, but there's only one person you can really bond with. And this bonding process is dependent not on discovering the right partner, but on being the right partner. Let me repeat, on being the right partner. Look inside yourself and inside your partner. Discover each of your uniquenesses as individuals. Above all, adapt to each other's needs. Learn to understand each other. Be considerate of your partner and share in everything that you do. Surely by following this view, it makes sense that any two people could love one another. It is solely dependent on each one making a concerted effort and feeding the love to make it grow. And here we come to that important little statement. You've got to feed the love to make it grow. Other people believe that love is a sacrifice. In other words, they would sacrifice everything for their spouse. If a decision had to be taken as to who has to die first, the one partner will say that they want to stay alive so that they can suffer the grief and pain of being alone. So love is self-torture. Absolute nonsense. Once again, think of any couples you know whose relationship consists of self-sacrificing love. Each is giving up something to prove to the other how sincere their love is. Meanwhile, if they just did what they enjoy together and shared it, they would have so much more. Can you see where I'm going with this? Now, of course, there are times when one partner will sacrifice something and the other not. This is all part of the balance, but you cannot do it 100% of the time. Equilibrium has to be maintained. One day you'll sacrifice not going to the football game so that your wife can use the car to visit a close friend. The next time around, your wife will take you out on an expensive dinner or romantic dinner using some of the money she saved for a new outfit for herself. It's all about unselfish giving and maintaining that balance. Let's look at another example. You go to the spice market to buy a pound of cinnamon. The dealer's got a scale, on one side a pound weight, on the other side the empty container. He fills that empty container until it contains a pound of cinnamon. If the two sides don't balance, he's either cheating you or himself. Is there a difference between love and sex? What about lustful and emotional love? One often hears of women who want more feeling and emotional sex, while their husband just want to get down and have lustful sex. Personally, I feel that love and sex are part of a system, and that one cannot exist without the other, just as humankind cannot exist without water. However, sex is one of the bonding behaviors associated with love, just as is kissing, touching, cuddling, honesty, sharing. They all form part of the system too. It is one thing to have lustful sex with a physically attractive person. This may satisfy a physical need, but true fulfilling sex, encompassing the entire spectrum of emotional feelings, can only be achieved with someone you truly love. Yes, experimenting with various positions, outfits, and toys are all part of the sex game, and by all means should form part of a well-balanced diet of sexual activities with your partner. However, one kink should not take preference, as then the novelty and the excitement will wear off, but rather a well-blended mix of sexual activities. Now, regardless of whether it is normal or not, or kinky, if both of you are in love, honesty, sharing what you are doing, and enjoying each other's responses to this, even if it may seem like a lustful act, is still something only the two of you can share and make it a lot more deeper than just pure physical lust. The emotional loving attachment makes it so much more meaningful. So in essence, yes, there is a difference between emotional and lustful sex. With a stranger, you can have lustful sex. With your spouse, the person that you love, you can have both lustful and emotional sex. Yet love is still the predominant overriding factor here. If you completely love each other unselfishly and share everything, then no matter what you do sexually, it will be coupled with love. At times, the intensity of the love may vary depending on the sex act, yet the final objective should always be emotional and loving sex. Your love should not be separate from your sex. It must all be one. And then you really have truly great and magical sex. We'll leave it at that. On to the next lesson.